This is the story of a man who once had nothing. No money, no clear future, no real hope. Until one day he discovered a surprisingly simple secret. Within just 90 days, his entire life started to transform. In a small industrial town where factories never seemed to sleep, there lived a 32-year-old man named Daniel. Daniel worked as a night security guard at a large storage warehouse. Every evening at 8 p.m., he started his shift. Every morning at 6 a.m., completely exhausted, he walked home to sleep. His salary was painfully small. It was barely enough to pay rent and buy food. Daniel lived in a tiny one-room apartment. The ceiling fan had stopped working months ago. Instead of a bed, he slept on an old mattress placed directly on the floor. There was only one light bulb in the room, and whenever the electricity weakened, the light would flicker. Most of his clothes were worn out. Even his shoes had small holes in them. But Daniel's biggest struggle was not poverty. It was something deeper. He felt trapped. Every morning, as he walked home through the quiet streets, the town slowly began to wake up. Through the windows of the houses, he could see other people's lives. Families sitting together at breakfast. Children putting on backpacks for school. Men in clean shirts preparing to leave for office jobs. And every time he saw it, the same painful thought crossed his mind. Is this really going to be my life forever? Walking home while everyone else was just starting their day. While everyone else seemed to be moving forward, Daniel had tried to change things. He had applied for better jobs many times, but because he had only finished high school, every opportunity seemed to close before it even began. He thought about learning new skills, but after working through the entire night, he barely had the energy to do anything except sleep. His mother lived alone in the countryside. She called him once every week. Her voice was always warm, but there was worry behind it. Daniel, my son, when will things start getting better for you? I'm getting old. I want to see you succeed before I leave this world. Daniel always tried to sound confident. Soon, Mom, soon. I'm working on it. But the painful truth was, he didn't know how to change anything, and that truth hurt more than anything else. Daniel wasn't lazy. In fact, he worked hard every single night. He walked miles during his shifts. He stayed alert. He did his job exactly as he was supposed to. But hard work alone wasn't changing his life. He was working hard, inside a life that was going nowhere. Every morning he fell into bed around 7 a.m., sleeping until late afternoon. Sometimes he felt like his entire life was running in reverse. The world was moving forward while he slept through it, and one quiet thought kept returning to him again and again. A whisper he couldn't ignore. There must be another way. But he had no idea what that way could be. One cold Tuesday morning in November, something happened. Daniel had just finished his shift and was about to leave work when his phone suddenly rang. It was his younger sister. Her voice sounded panicked. "Daniel, you need to come home right now. Mom collapsed. She's in the hospital." For a moment, his heart felt like it had stopped. Without thinking, he rushed to the bus station and caught the first bus to his village. The journey took 3 hours, but it felt endless. When he finally arrived at the small village clinic, his mother was lying in a hospital bed. She looked weak, but she was awake. The doctor explained that she had fainted from exhaustion and stress. She needed rest, better food, and medication that they could barely afford. His mother gently squeezed his hand. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. "Daniel, I don't have much time left in this world. Please, don't waste your life the way I wasted mine. Find your path. Promise me." Daniel stayed beside her long after she fell asleep. He stared at her hands. hands that had worked in the fields for decades, hands that had struggled just like he struggled now. Both of them working endlessly, yet never moving forward. Something inside him broke. Not sadness, something stronger. Anger at his own helplessness. He walked outside the clinic. The sky was still dark. It was exactly 5 a.m. The village was quiet, but a few farmers were already walking toward their fields. Birds were beginning to sing. The morning air felt cool and clean. And standing there in that silent dawn, Daniel made a decision. No more, he whispered to himself. I will not live like this anymore. No matter what it takes, I will find a way. Later that morning, while riding the bus back to the city, Daniel noticed someone sitting across from him, a man in his early 50s, dressed neatly in a clean jacket. He was calmly reading a book. The man looked peaceful. Daniel suddenly recognized him. It was Mr. Bennett, a well-known businessman who owned several successful shops in town. What surprised Daniel the most was the time. It was only 6 a.m., a successful businessman riding a normal bus at sunrise. After a few minutes, Daniel finally gathered the courage to speak. "Excuse me, sir. May I ask you something?" Mr. Bennett looked up from his book and smiled kindly. "Of course." Daniel hesitated. "Why are you taking the bus this early in the morning?" The man closed his book. "Because I wake up at 4:30 every day," he said calmly. "These early hours are the most valuable part of my day. I use them to read, think, and plan before the rest of the world wakes up." Daniel frowned slightly. "But don't you need more sleep?" Mr. Bennett chuckled. "I go to bed at 9 p.m. That gives me 7.5 hours, more than enough." Then he studied Daniel's tired face. "You work nights, don't you?" "Yes," Daniel replied, "security guard." "And when do you sleep?" "Usually from 7 in the morning until about 4 in the afternoon." Mr. Bennett nodded slowly. "Well, that explains it. You're awake when the world is sleeping, and sleeping when the world is building its future. No wonder you feel stuck." He leaned slightly closer. "Let me tell you a secret that changed my life 30 years ago. The hours between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., those are the magic hours. That's when you can quietly build the life you want while everyone else is still dreaming." Daniel felt something inside him begin to rise. Something dangerous. Something called hope. "But how?" he asked. "I work until 6 in the morning. I need sleep." "Then change your schedule," Mr. Bennett replied simply. "Sleep when you get home at 6:30. Wake up around 11:30. That gives you 5 hours, enough to survive. Then live the real part of your life while the world is awake. And when you eventually change jobs, wake up at 5 a.m. every day. That's the secret." Before getting off the bus, Mr. Bennett wrote his phone number on a small card. "If you truly want to change your life," he said, handing it to Daniel, "call me. I'll teach you what to do with those morning hours. But only if you're serious. Because it requires discipline that most people don't have." The bus stopped. Daniel stepped off, holding the card tightly in his hand, and he made a promise to himself. "I will start tomorrow." That same evening, Daniel did something he had never done before. He called Mr. Bennett. The next day, at 11 a.m., for the first time in years, Daniel was awake during daylight on a weekday. They met in a small cafe. Mr. Bennett looked at him with approval. "So, you actually changed your sleep schedule." "Good. Most people only talk about change. You acted." He opened a notebook and drew a simple picture. "Daniel, imagine your life is like a house. Right now, your house is dark, cold, and slowly falling apart. And do you know why? Because you never work on the foundation. You're too busy just trying to survive. He sketched a small house on the page. The hours between 5 and 7 in the morning, that's your foundation building time. While everyone else is asleep or barely waking up, you are building your future. 2 hours every day. That's 14 hours a week. About 60 hours a month. And over 730 hours a year. He wrote the numbers clearly on the page. That's equal to almost 9 extra full work weeks every year, just from waking up early. In other words, you gain almost 3 extra months of life that most people completely waste. Daniel stared at the numbers in disbelief. 3 months. Mr. Bennett smiled. Exactly. And here's what you must do with those 2 hours. Mr. Bennett leaned slightly forward and continued. This part is not negotiable, he said calmly. This is the system. He raised 2 fingers. 2 hours every morning. Hour 1, from 5 to 6 a.m., is for building skills. This hour is about changing your financial future. No television, no scrolling on your phone. No wasting time. You learn. A language, a digital skill, a profession. Today, the internet has everything. Free courses, tutorials, entire libraries of knowledge. YouTube alone can teach you almost anything. So, excuses no longer exist. He paused for a moment before continuing. Hour 2, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., is for building yourself. Move your body for at least 30 minutes. Walk, run, stretch, exercise. Your body is the vehicle of your life. If that vehicle breaks, everything stops. After that, read something useful. Think, plan your day, or practice the skill you are learning. Daniel wrote everything down quickly. Then Mr. Bennett added 3 final rules. Rule number 1. No negotiation. You wake up at 5 a.m. Every single day, weekends included. No, just today I'll skip. That is exactly how people fail. Rule number 2. Sleep by 9 p.m. You cannot cheat sleep and expect success. Your body needs rest, but you control when that rest happens. Rule number 3. The first week will be terrible. Your body will fight you. Your mind will invent excuses, but push through. After 21 days, it starts to feel normal. After 90 days, it becomes part of who you are. Mr. Bennett looked at Daniel with a serious expression. I'm giving you 3 months, 90 days. For those 90 days, you wake up at 5 a.m. 1 hour to build skills. 1 hour to build yourself. After 3 months, come back and show me what you have created. If you truly did the work, I will help you find a better opportunity. But if you quit, don't call me. Success belongs to the people who keep showing up, especially when it's hard. Daniel felt the weight of the challenge. But for the first time in years, he felt something else. Direction. I'll do it, he said quietly. I won't quit. Mr. Bennett smiled slightly. We'll see, he replied. Everyone says that at the beginning. The next morning, Daniel's alarm exploded at 5 a.m. His entire body resisted. Every muscle begged him to stay in bed. His mind whispered softly, just 1 more hour. You're exhausted. You deserve rest. For a moment, he almost gave in. But then he remembered his mother lying in that hospital bed, her weak voice, her words. Please don't waste your life. Daniel threw the blanket aside and stood up. The first week was brutal. Every morning felt like a battle. His eyes burned from lack of sleep. His head ached. His body felt heavy. At 5 a.m., while the streets outside were still dark, he sat at a small table and watched Excel tutorials on his phone. Sometimes he had to replay the same lesson 3 times. Sometimes he barely understood what the instructor was explaining. But he kept going. At 6 a.m., he forced himself outside. Cold air, empty streets, 30 minutes of walking. Sometimes his legs felt like stone, but every step reminded him he was moving forward. After the walk, he read articles about accounting, balance sheets, formulas, basic financial principles. By 7:30 a.m., he collapsed into bed. He slept until the afternoon. Then he went back to his night shift. Day after day, the routine repeated. It was exhausting, it was lonely, and nobody understood what he was doing. But something unexpected happened around day 20. One morning, Daniel opened his eyes. The room was still dark. He looked at the clock. 4:58 a.m., 2 minutes before his alarm. For the first time, he woke up naturally. His body had started adapting, and something else changed. The lessons began to make sense. The Excel formulas suddenly clicked. Data tables, financial reports, inventory tracking. He completed his first online certificate, then another. His morning walks became moments he actually enjoyed. Watching the sunrise, feeling the quiet of the city, knowing that while most people were sleeping, he was building something. By the end of the second month, Daniel had completed 3 online courses in Excel and accounting. He had lost weight from daily walks. His mind felt sharper. His confidence slowly returned. People at work noticed. "Daniel," one coworker said one night, "you look different." "Healthier." "What changed?" Daniel smiled. "I'm rebuilding my life. 2 hours at a time." During the 3rd month, Daniel decided to test what he had learned. The warehouse inventory system had always been chaotic. Boxes misplaced, numbers incorrect, records incomplete. So, Daniel created a simple Excel system. It tracked incoming shipments, product locations, stock levels, something the company had never properly organized before. He showed it to his supervisor. The supervisor stared at the spreadsheet, impressed. "Daniel, where did you learn this?" Daniel answered simply. "I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, and I teach myself." Word about his system spread quickly, from supervisor to warehouse manager, then to the owner of the company. On day 87 of his 5 a.m. journey, Daniel was called into the office. His supervisor looked at him seriously. "Daniel, we are expanding our accounting department. We need someone who understands warehouse operations and also has bookkeeping skills." He paused. "If you want the position, the job is yours. Day shift. And the salary will be double what you earn now." For a moment, Daniel could not speak. 3 months earlier, he was a hopeless night guard. Now he was being offered an office job. "When do I start?" he finally asked. "Next Monday." That evening, Daniel called Mr. Bennett. His voice trembled slightly. "I did it. For 90 days, I never missed a single 5 a.m. And today, I got promoted." There was a brief silence. Then Mr. Bennett spoke, his voice warm, proud. "I knew you would. You had the eyes of someone ready to change. But remember something important. Do not stop waking up at 5 o'clock. That's not a trick. That's your life now." Daniel smiled. "I won't stop. This is who I am now." 1 year later, everything had changed. Daniel had become the lead accountant of the company. He saved enough money to move his mother into the city. She finally received proper medical care. He rented a comfortable 2-bedroom apartment. But one thing never changed. Every single morning, at 5 a.m., Daniel still woke up. Not because he had to, but because those 2 hours had become sacred. That was when he learned new software, read business books, and planned his future. Sometimes coworkers asked him, "Daniel, why do you still wake up so early?" "You've already made it." Daniel would smile quietly and answer, "Success is not a destination. It's a daily practice, and mine begins at 5 a.m. Daniel's story proves something powerful. Your life can change, not someday, not when everything becomes easier, right now, starting tomorrow morning. Most people think success depends on talent, or luck, or connections, but often the real difference is something much simpler. How you use the hours when everyone else is sleeping. Between 5 and 7 a.m., the world is quiet. No notifications, no meetings, no distractions. Your mind is clear, your discipline is strongest. This is where lives begin to change. That's why many successful people wake up early. CEOs, athletes, leaders. Not because they are superhuman, but because they understand one simple rule. Win the morning, and you win the day. So here is your challenge. The same challenge Mr. Bennett gave Daniel. Tonight, set your alarm for 5 a.m., not 5:15, not 5:30, exactly 5 a.m. Place your phone across the room so you must stand up to turn it off. Then, decide one thing. Just one thing you will build during your first hour. A skill, a course, a business idea. Commit to it for 90 days. Protect your 9 p.m. bedtime. Sleep is not the enemy. Wasted evenings are, and I promise you this. If you wake up at 5 a.m. for the next 90 days and use those hours with purpose, your life will not stay the same. Maybe you won't become a millionaire overnight. Maybe you won't get promoted immediately. But something more important will happen. You will become a different person, stronger, more disciplined, more capable. And that version of you can achieve things your current self cannot even imagine. Daniel started with nothing. No degree, no connections, no money. Just one decision, to wake up early and start building. And you already have more opportunities than he did. You have the internet, knowledge, access to learning. The real question is simple. Tomorrow morning, when that alarm rings at 5 a.m., will you get up, or will you press snooze and wonder 5 years from now why nothing changed? Remember Daniel's words. Success is not a destination. It is a daily practice, and that practice begins tomorrow morning. At 5 a.m., your future self is waiting on the other side of that alarm clock. Don't keep them waiting.